morning, everyone. Sorry, this is starting a bit late. We had a cut, and yes, we had to fix that before we jump right in. Welcome to today's episode of How Can I Help or Support My Child? Too many parents make life hard for their children by trying zealously to make life easy for them. My name is Mary Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship and PTM Resources. I am, of course, also the proud matron of the Mastermind Circle, a peer mentorship and accountability group where we work with young children to be everything that God has created them to be. We work with young children to help them understand that they have full, as in they have a giant that is within them, a full, embodiment to be everything that God has created them to be. And so we point them towards seeing themselves as this giant, towards seeing themselves as everything that God has called them to be. And in that way, they are able to reach out and become all that God has created them to be. Today, we started a series yesterday. We started talking about how we can help our children. How can I help my child who is entitled become resourceful? We talked about that yesterday, and today is the part two, the concluding part of that session that we had yesterday. I want to say to you, dear parents, that the greatest gift as a parent that you can give to your child is a sense of responsibility that will help birth the ability to be independent in your child. I would take that again. The greatest gift that you can give your child as a parent is the gift of, helping the child develop a sense of responsibility. And through that sense of responsibility, the child is able to birth the ability to be independent. So we are called to point our children to independence. And we are talking about independence at every level. Yes, independence for your 1-year-old, independence for your 5-year-old, your 8-year-old, your 10-year-old, and for the child, no matter how old or young they are. All right, no child no child who is physically and mentally stable needs to depend on others for the things that they can do for themselves. Provided your child does not have a challenge that stops them or makes them unable to support themselves completely, then no child who is able to should have other people do for them the things that they can do for themselves. Of course, there is the place of teaching the children to ask for help when they need help. There is the place of supporting your child, especially at the time where you are trying to get them to the place where they can build these skills, where they can, where they can build skills on their own, and when they can take initiative on their own. So yes, there is that time where you are supporting them, but even in that support, there is a place of the child having to do things on their own. If you are here on this call right now, why don't you let us know that you have joined us in the comments section? If you are joining us on YouTube, it's a good time to click the button, the subscription button, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get notified whenever we go live. Apart from that, we have tons of resources on our YouTube channel that you can apply or you can use right in your parenting journey. And if you are on Facebook, why don't you go ahead and tag a friend who needs to be here? Tag a friend who does not know about the daily How Can I Help My Child series so that they can become a part of it. And this series is something that you can watch on the go. Yes, it's something that you can watch while you're listen to while you're driving to work. It's something that you can join in while you're trying to settle down in the morning. It's something that you can join in while you're having that early morning tea. It's something that you can join in at any point at all. And hey, the good part is it's short. It's not for a long period. And so you can join in and be a part of it. And yeah, you can also catch the replay later in the day. But there's so much that's going on here that you can take and apply in your parenting journey instantly while you are positioning yourself in communities where you can continue to build yourself. And most importantly, you want to get your child into a system where the child is consistently growing and building themselves in a community of like minds, community of children who share the same vision as them, children who share the same values as them, and children, of course, who can encourage them, support them, of course, influence them positively. And this can be two ways, right? Your children can be the ones doing the motivation and impacting and influencing, and others can be. So this is why we say the mastermind is also a peer mentorship and accountability group where we mentor the children, the children mentor each other, and of course, we hold them accountable to be everything that they have been called to be. All right, let's go straight into what we're talking about today. Yesterday, I talked about, I shared about 4 things that we can do as parents to ensure that, or 4 things that we do, 4 things that we do as parents that end up creating entitlement in our children, which is, of course, what I know isn't what the plan is. That's not the plan you have for your child. That's not the plan I have for my children. That's not the plan any parent has, to raise children who cannot depend on themselves, children who think that everybody owes them. That is what entitlement is. Entitlement means that when you can do something for yourself, or when you can make an effort towards something and you choose not to, but you choose to depend on other people for it. Entitlement is when you look at somebody and you decide that this person owes me, certain things, okay, even while you have not invested in any way, or you have not contributed in any way to that thing. When you look at someone and you say, by virtue of the fact that I am your child, whatever it is that I want, you will give to me. There is a time where children should depend on us, but there is that line, or there is that time where they cross the dependency phase. And even with the dependency phase or dependence, there is a level to dependence, and there is the point where you have to cross from the child depending on you completely to the child being able to do things on their own. If as parents we don't recognize these times and we don't allow our children gravitate or get into this season in their lives where they begin to do things for themselves, then we will be raising children who will be entitled. So knowledge is very important in this process. It is important that as a parent you are knowledgeable and you know at what point to draw the lines between your child depending on you and your child being able to do things for themselves. 2 things will happen to you as a parent or caregiver who is raising a child, okay, based on the knowledge that you have and what you are ready to apply. 1, you would empower the child to the point that the child becomes responsible, or you will want to save the child. You would save the child to the point that the child becomes entitled. Choose ye today what kind of parent you want to be. A parent who will encourage and support your child and build and equip your child to the point that the child becomes responsible, or the parents who will raise the child and build the child and support the child in a way that everything is done for the child, or the things that are important are done for the child. And the child is not allowed to gain the requisite skills that the child needs to begin to do things on their own, in which case the child becomes entitled, thinking that other people should do these things for them. Or parents who has not pointed the child to building themselves in a way that they see themselves as contributors in the lives of other people. Now, when our children get to that point, they don't see themselves as contributors, but they see themselves as takers. They want to take from every system. They want to take from everybody. They want to take from every relationship, and they do not see the need to give to their relationships. They do not see the need to give to a system. They do not see the need to be someone who can be relied on. Then we will be raising entitled people, and that is what we do not want to do. Yesterday, we buttressed on 4 points, or 4 ways that we raise entitled children. We started by saying that when you do not raise children who are emotionally stable and able to regulate their emotions, then you will raise children who will be emotionally irresponsible. You will raise children who do not know how to navigate, their emotional needs. And when children do not know how to navigate their emotional needs, you find out that tantrums become a part of them. Yes, this kind of children will throw tantrums at every instance. And so even at the point where they should stop and reason, okay, they are not reasoning, because the only coping mechanism they have for not having what they want, or for dealing with when they are emotional about something, or when they have big emotions. You are angry, you are frustrated, you're angry, you are frustrated, even when you are excited, whatever it is, emotions that you are going through, because you have not learned how to regulate it, right? You will throw tantrums, and you would you would deal with that emotion in a way that would probably rub off wrongly, to other people. And because these people do not know how to be responsible emotionally, they begin to depend on other people for their emotional needs. They begin to depend on other people to be the ones to fix them, for other people to be the ones to fix situations, for other people to be the ones to do the right thing, okay, or to do whatever will change the situation. I'll give you an example. When you have people who continuously say that I acted the way I did because this person triggered me, that is someone that is emotionally not responsible, and the person, he feels entitled to the fact that some other person would have to fix the situation so that they don't have to react the way they are reacting. So when we do not help our children regulate emotionally, we put them in a position where they continue to depend on other people to make everything right in order for them to, be emotionally responsible. They depend on every other person to fix them. You are angry, you are looking for someone who is responsible. Something goes wrong, you don't ever take responsibility. You are trying to heap the responsibility on other people. Has it ever happened to you? I mean, even to the best of us, right? These things will come up. It is how you regulate your emotions that will allow you walk away from them or look at them rationally. There are times that things happen, things go wrong. The first thing that comes to your mind is some other person must have done something wrong. Okay, it's some other person's fault. Until you are able to sit down and do a bit of reflection, then you are able to see the part that you have played in it. But if you are someone who hasn't learned how to reflect and do all of that, you realize that you will continue to blame every other person and feeling entitled, right? That other people should be the ones that take the blame for everything. We talked about parents who are on their own entitled. When you feel that, when you parent without a sense of urgency, you are never thinking about, okay, how about if I'm not here today? How about if something goes wrong? How about, if something goes wrong, how about I'm not here today? How about, I'm not there to support my child? Will the child be able to navigate on their own? Now, if you are a parent who has this sense of urgency, constantly thinking this way, how about if I'm not here? How about if I'm not disposed? How am I equipping my child today in order for the child to navigate on their own, with or without me? Okay, in order for the child to just know how to navigate, whether I am there or not. All right, when you are in this position, we say, when you're not operating or you're not living with this sense of urgency, we say, I mean, you will be raising entitled children because you're doing everything for them. You're getting people to do everything for them. For the things that they can do, you are doing, or you are getting people to do for them. So there is no sense of urgency. Like, you need to learn this so that you can, do this on your own or navigate on your own. We talked about, if you fail to build your children financially, you fail to teach your children financial education, then you are raising them to be entitled. When you raise children who do not understand the principles of wealth, you raise children who do not understand the basic financial principles, what you are doing, you are raising children who will continue to depend on people financially. I think this is one of the biggest ones. This is one of the biggest places where we see entitlement in its highest order. That is why you will see children who are 13 and 12, and they make demands for things that, in their wildest, things that they're beyond them, right? Things that they have not ever come close to understanding how those things even become. But because we have raised children to just see, I mean, we've raised them to see what society says about wealth. We've raised them to see or to interpret wealth as what pop culture says that wealth is. And because as parents, we have not bothered to equip them and help them understand how wealth is created. Okay, how the principles of wealth is. We've not raised them that way. So our children do not put themselves in a place where they are even thinking about how this world comes about. They are meant, I mean, they are raised in a way that they see money as something that they should use, money as something that they should look for, money as something that they should pursue, money as something that they should chase. So that's why all your 15-year-old is thinking about is how he can blow. All your 15 years is thinking about is how they can hit, how they can have a big break. So that's why we are having, more children think about ring lights today than think about what they can invent. I mean, we're not saying there's anything wrong with creating content, there's nothing wrong with it. But the way we are going, especially in Africa, have you ever thought about it, right? How many of these ring lights children you see in countries in Asia? How many of these ring light children you see in Europe or in America? Even when you see the ring light children, you know what I mean by ring light children? Children who have become content creators, right? When you even see the ring light people in some of this country, you see them doing deep things. You see a child that is, teaching you about technology. You see a child that is cooking. You see a child that is it's very creative and is sharing their creativity, right, in a way that is innovative, in a way that is innovative, right, and effective. Now, a lot of our children are putting ring lights just to crack jokes. A lot of our children are putting ring lights in front of them just to sound nasty. All right, you want to be nasty. You want to be seen as woke. You want to be seen as someone who gives no two hoots. Right? I don't give two hoots. And so all your followers are following you because you can rant and your mouth is ta 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 ta. Millions of people follow you because you are uncouth. Millions of people follow you because you are nasty. And so they say, oh, it's boldness. Dear parents, there's no boldness in being, there's no boldness in this, right? There's really no boldness in this, because really, when push comes to shove, you put these people in a gathering, where value is supposed to be, delivered. You realize they have nothing to deliver besides just being nasty and outrightly unruly. All right, so this is what we're doing. We're building and creating more. I mean, we're building children, and we are getting more and more children who want to create content, and this is what they are seeing as the future. All right, they want to just dance. And then you ask yourself, if you've not asked yourself this question, for how long would you dance for a living? For how long would you run your mouth for a living? And we think that, oh, when the time comes, they will adjust. No. If the right seeds are not being sown right now, if they are not being directed in the right way right now, these things that they are exposed to early will become all that they think that wealth is. Let's not raise children to build their life on things that are not sustainable. That's what we're saying. We're going to raise children who will create content. Let's raise children who will create content that are long-lasting, content that will change the lives of people in reality. Content that is timeless. All right, so these things are very, very key. So we talked about, that's financial education we're talking about. All right, so it spans more than that. As I said, this show is not the show where we can come teach you these things and sit on it. It's a 15-minute to 30-minute show. There is only so much we can teach in this show, but I hope that the nuggets that we drop here, right, the hacks that we talk about, you're able to take, and go back and look into it, and see how you can apply it. Okay, but more than that, you want to get yourself in communities where you continue to learn and share experiences. As a parent, we can recommend a robust community for you as a parent. I belong to one, Inner Circle by Coach Wendy. All right, we can recommend communities for you. For your children, they need to be on a journey too. And so if you have children between ages 6 and 12 and 14, sorry, you want to bring them to us in the mastermind circle. Okay, for a whole year, we will work with these children. And we don't just talk. The things we say here are the things that we do or we work on. These are the things that make up our curriculum in the mastermind circle. And so your child will be learning firsthand from us while you are also building them and working with the hacks that we give you and what you are learning from your own community. See, all of this comes together if you want to raise a wholesome child. We talked again about, failing or raising this kind of children because we prioritize obedience over honor. We don't teach our children to honor us, right? Such that we build a relationship that is based on connection with our children. And so when we connect and we teach our children and we point them in the right way, our children learn to do these things and they internalize these things and they do it because they honor us, not because they need to just do it for now, because they don't want to get into trouble or because they want us to continue to give them money. Do you know how a lot of our children are hypocritical? A lot of our children are hypocritical. A lot of our children just do things, just watch your children closely. Okay, you could be one of those parents that have your children act in a certain kind way only when they need things from you. And if you check the trend or you check the pattern, you will realize that it's becoming, it's not just the usual joke. The child will just come and joke so that they can get something from you and go. If you look closely, you could be raising a child that actually has a whole 360-degree change in persona when they want something. And when that thing, there's no need at the time, or they don't need you at the time, the persona changes altogether to a different person altogether. Pay attention to these things, and you may realize that you're raising a child who actually just hangs around and does the things that they should do because they need certain things from you per time. What it means is when they don't depend or need from you anymore, you will see that side of them that really doesn't give, a lot of, that it really isn't too concerned about, how you feel, what they do with, come across to you and all of that. We are raising a generation of children who are not committed, and that's because we put obedience over honor. All right, so I said I was going to share two more. One, because we do not allow our children to build we don't allow our children to build academic muscles where our children become lifelong learners because they love and they enjoy learning. We're raising children who do not enjoy learning, children who learn because they have to learn. Why is this? Because the foundation for learning is not right. We raise children and we point them to doing well in school in that they are having the right grades that we want per time. All right? Because they're having the right grades that we want for time. We're more concerned about how they look, how their grades look on paper, than how our children are really learning. So because of this, we're raising more children who will feel entitled to being sent to a certain kind of school. You need to send them to a certain kind of school, okay? And I need a lesson teacher, and then they get lesson teachers. So they get people who are supporting them all the way. So your child is being supported all the way, and your child doesn't learn how to support themselves or how to learn as an individual or how to enjoy and have a deep longing for learning. So these children go, and whatever it is that they do, however that they do, it's not from inside, right? Our children basically they just weather through school, giving us and handing us the results that we want to see. Please just give me a second, please. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. All right, so without a real sense of responsibility, at taking on the responsibility, the academic responsibilities, and living through, the expectations that we have for them and the expectation that they should set for themselves. Your children should want to do well in school because they appreciate the fact that, first of all, because they have visions that they are trying to achieve, in life. Secondly, because they see how hard you work, right, to get them, the education that they deserve. Now, they should feel a sense of responsibility to take responsibility for this. But because as parents, we end up doing all the supporting, we end up paying all the fees, we end up being the one worrying about how well they do, we end up providing all the people that will support them, we end up doing everything on our own. So your child feels entitled and doesn't feel like it's a responsibility to do well in school. Then the last one is we do not share our convictions with our children. What is it that you are convinced about? Okay, the things that you're convinced about, your beliefs, your ideologies, right? Your values, all of these should actually be put together, and this should form the training that you give your children over time. All right. Now, when you do this, you will raise children who will be in sync with you as far as perspective, okay, not perspective, as far as convictions are concerned. All right. So that way, you are able to raise children who can reason with you at a similar or at least a similar level, or at at the same level. When you do this, you'll be raising children that you won't wake up tomorrow and say, my child is entitled. After everything I've done, my child has no regards for me, my child has no regards for all we've taught them and all of that. You didn't raise them sharing your convictions with them. When you share your convictions with your child, chances are, or huge chance is that, why am I saying chances? When you share your convictions with your children all through their life, you will raise a child who will be responsible. You will raise a child who can connect with the vision that you have for them. You will raise a child who will embody the things that you have passed them through over the years. And this is because you created a system where you can share your convictions with your child. That is the greatest inheritance that you can give your child. The gift of your convictions, what you believe in, what you stand for, what your ideology is, what your values are. When you do this, you will raise children who will definitely be far from entitlement. You will raise children who will see things the way you see things. And so if you value responsibility, and you understand what it means, right, to do things and to be independent, and you realize what that brings into your life and the life of the people that you've been called to impact, this is the kind of child that you will be raising. So let's go now, and let's talk about how we can begin to do this, or what we can do differently if we want to raise our children to move from entitlement to being resourceful. Number one, you want to create a system in your home that recognizes the fact that you are raising children and that your children are constantly mirroring what it is that the life that you show to them. So you are that mirror that your children will see life through. Basically, you are the eyes through which your children are going to see life. So if you are not emotionally stable, or you do not know how to regulate your emotions, you will raise children who equally do not know how to regulate their emotions. So this is something that, as a parent, if you are struggling with your emotions, you are struggling with being in that place where you know how to, help your children regulate their emotions, then you need to go and get help. Yes, go ahead and get help. But by all means, do not raise children with your emotions all over the place. Okay, but you can begin here by doing this. Every time you feel a flood of those big emotions, every time you feel like you are about to lose it, every time you feel like you're about to start saying things that are disempowering, all right, then take a break. All right, just take a break. Make it a way of life to say to your children, mommy's not feeling great right now, or mommy is really very upset right now. I will talk to you, just give me some time and I will talk to you when I'm ready. All right, and then allow your children do that to you also. Let your children be able to say to you, mom, can I talk to you about this later? When you create systems like these, you are creating a template for each of you to respect yourself, right? And respect yourself basically, and regulate your emotions when you are dealing with yourself. You need to do that. As we said, the brain is a relational organ, and your children are going to learn emotional regulation through what it is that you show them that is the right way to deal with their emotions. Today, we see men who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and even older, who throw actual tantrums. If you go and you you look closely, you will see that these are young people. These are people who didn't learn how to deal with their emotions as children. They threw tantrums at that point, and even right now that they're older, because as adults we don't feel what we're doing is tantrums, but really what we're doing is still throwing tantrums. You will still be an adult who is throwing a tantrum. So deal with those emotions. Let your children be able to speak about how they feel per time. Teach them to name their emotions and teach them how to deal with those emotions. And you can start by being quiet and then breathe in, breathe out while you're dealing with this, and you go and get professional help on this. All right. Number two, we talked about the fact that if as parents, you are entitled yourself, there is no sense of urgency in anything that you are doing. Dear parents, to be entitled, not to have a sense of urgency. You're not thinking, why do my children not know how to clean the house on their own? Why do my children not know how to cook? Why do my children not know how to tidy their rooms? I was having a conversation with a parent one day, and the parent said, in fact, the parent was complaining, her daughter had joined, a club, and the parents was saying, why does she even need to be in this club? I mean, we are in a world where you don't need to do all of these things. You can get people to do these things for you. And I said to the parents, okay, how about the child just having the skills? You can just have the skills and still have people do it for you. Do you know why? Because COVID hit once upon a time, and with all the money that a lot of us had, we couldn't get people into our home to do the things that we needed to do. People learned to do things for themselves. So what it means is, at that point, if you have raised teenagers, you have raised preteens, you have raised children who know not how to do anything for themselves. What it meant that time is you were overwhelmed. You definitely were overwhelmed. You were tired. You were sick. You were all of that. You were frustrated. Your home was a crazy, your home was was chaotic at that time, because at the time, you had children who probably didn't know how to navigate anything on their own, and everything fell on you. And you are not God. Who told you this is the last? I'm not a prophet of doom, but what I'm saying is we have to be in that place where there's a sense of urgency, okay, in everything that we do, knowing that there is nothing that will kill anybody if they are equipped. I said earlier today, let's stop raising children let's stop raising children who we want to save all the time. And so we're so overzealous about trying to, make them do easy things, and we end up making their lives difficult. Okay, I said too many parents make life hard for their children by trying too zealously to make their life easy for them. I want to give them what my parents did not give me. It will ruin your child. All right, nobody says that. For all you know, the fact that you did some of the things that you did, the tough things that you did when our parents got us to do them, is why we can navigate today. All right, so while you are trying to change some of the things that our parents didn't do right, because yes, there are a lot of things that our parents didn't do right. While we're trying to do this, don't do it from a place of disempowerment. Look at the things that were not right and tweak them. There are a lot of things that our parents did that were also good. Go back there and also use that. For instance, some of us played with reckless abandon. We learned how to figure out things outdoor on our own. We learned how to regulate our emotions. We learned how to resolve conflicts. We learned how to, think on our feet. We learned how to take initiative by being out there, right? Why our parents didn't even know, what it is exactly that they were doing, but we learned skills while at it. Now take some of those things and tweak them in a way that it serves you today, okay? But we cannot raise children who are not doing anything. We cannot be overzealous about creating an easy life for our children that we end up, making a mess of these children. There should be a sense of urgency. What skill? Ask yourself at different points. My daughter turned 9. I'm already asking myself at 9, what can I put my finger on and say, these are the skills that my daughter has got for sure. And so we have sat down and we have narrowed it down now that she's 9, because she's in a whole new phase. She's a preteen. foolproof. So we have narrowed it down now. What are the things that we are going to start honing, like honing seriously by way of getting coaching, and all of that? What skills are we developing from the many beautiful things that our daughter loves to do? She loves to draw, right? She loves to draw. She loves fashion. She will fix her button on her own. She'll sew her. She will use the needle to when she really wants to wear a dress or something to school, and there is a problem with it because, as a rule, you can't wear something that is torn, even if it is in a hidden place. So she will take her time and actually thread her needle and go out sewing it together just because she wants to wear it. So there's something in there that you even have the patience at 8 or 7 to sit down and do that. Okay, so these are the things we're honing today. Oh, she loves to tell stories. She could tell stories forever. And of course, she loves to write too. She has tiny, tiny little books, and she has 6 of them. Call her and ask her at any point. She will tell you she got 6 books, and she will tell you the title of all her 6 books that she started writing since she was 3. Okay, so these are the things. Now look and narrow it down, but do not leave your children unskilled. Some of our children do not know how to talk. They don't know how to talk. They just open their mouth, wow, and they say any kind of things to people. These are skills you need to start dealing with. Some of our children do not know how to get up and go on their own. They don't know how to take initiative. This is the time to teach your children how to take initiative. Some of our children do not know how to engage people. Okay, I was saying one time when Wigwe died, when the CEO of Access Bank died, and I said, just look at the relationships and all of these that this man has, built over the years. I listened to the daughter saying how, she is glad that her father was able to. She called people like Dangote or, and the people there, she called them uncle this, uncle that, uncle that, and then she says she is glad that her father was able to build this relationship with her because, of course, these are springboards that she can leverage on. But do you know that if this child has not been raised to build relationships and to know how to manage relationships, do you know that it's a matter of time and those relationships may not affect her life positively? Because if she is someone that doesn't know how to reach out, she's someone that doesn't know how to come down and say, sir, I will need your help. If she's someone that doesn't know how to come and say, okay, I'm trying to make a decision, what do you think, sir? If she is someone that doesn't even know how to reach out to people, she will be there, and at different point they'll probably be like, what's going on with you? What's going on with you? At some point they would stop. Life is busy. They will stop trying to find out what's going on if she hasn't been taught how to manage relationships herself. So these are the things, okay? These are the things we need to. There should be a sense of urgency. Did that man ever think that one day he will be no more? And I'm sure, this soon. And even if he did, I'm sure he had said to himself, or he and his wife had said to themselves at some point, if I go, this is what you should do with the children. And hey, did they even think in their wildest imagination that 2 of them will go? And I'm sure even if, because they look like people who are forward thinking, okay, if they had even stopped to think like, okay, let's have a conversation, with someone that, if we're not here, would do the needful, I'm sure they would have called their son, who seemed like a very responsible person and is the oldest, right? They would have sat down with their son and they would have had the conversation. Did they think that all 3 of them would go on the first day? Dear parents, there is a need at every point to recognize that you are not God. All right. So there should be a sense of urgency in our relationship or in building our children at every point, not because we are afraid of death, but because we are ready for life. All right. The next one we talked about is we don't teach our children financial education. Where do I start with this one? Where do I start with financial education? I just finished a course on financial education, becoming a financially smart child. That course was for children between 8 and 15. We have that course, robust course, and we have put it together. If you want your child to go through that course, you can still pay for it and get it, and you go through that course with the child. It teaches all the financial concepts that children need to know, financial principles. We even took them as far as teaching them about investments. We had like a whole 2-hour session all on investments that will even bless you, you as a parent. And so you are able to get a baseline to begin to teach your children these things. If you are not teaching your children financial intelligence, you are wrong. There's no other way to put it. If you're not teaching them financial intelligence, you are outrightly wrong. And I mean, even your 1 year old. We have a template for what you can do with your children from 0 to 18, teaching them how you can gradually teach them financial education. What is, what is appropriate per time. All right, I think it's a guide that we have. The guide is only for, I think it's for 2,000 or something like that. So if you want to get this guide, reach out to us. In fact, our guides are going to be out next week. You can pick one of them, there, or reach out and we'll let you know when you can grab that. All right, so we can't say much about this right now because the whole of May and April I was talking on this page. On this space, I was talking for free. I talked about financial education for 2 straight months. There's nothing more to add to what we have said. You can check in the group for resources on that. And then we talked about, the first one we talked about was financial, and then teach your children, prioritize honor, let your children honor you. I talked about that a little in the beginning. We're out of time, so I need to end in the next 1 minute. All right, let your children honor you. Let your children see the reason why they should do anything you've asked them to do. Stay in with them and teach them how to do the things. Okay, after teaching them about the reason, let it be a part of your life. Let them watch you embody and practice what it is that you have taught them. And now get them a chance to practice what it is that you have taught them by creating experiences and opportunities for your children to live what it is that you have taught them, and then continue to practice and continue to be consistent with this practice. With this, your children will internalize these things and you will not raise entitled children. And then finally, we talked about your convictions. Your convictions are very key. What do you believe in? What do you stand for? Okay, do you want to raise independent children? Teach your children, tell them why, talk about these things with them and all of that. Okay, I was listening to Apostle Selman the other day, and he talked about, he talked about a man called Andrew Carnegie, and how Carnegie was one of the very richest men in America back then. And Kennedy was worried about the fact that those of them who had sense, those of them who understood the power of wealth, principles, and all of that, they were not passing this down to the younger generation, right? And all of that. And he looked at what can we do to pass this down to the younger generation. And then he got a young man, a journalist, Napoleon Hill. And he said to Napoleon Hill, I'm going to give you a list of people, a list of successful people. And I want you to interview these people and find out what it is that they have done to create wealth, what it is that made them successful, what are their convictions, what are their ideologies, what is it that they believe in that made them who they are today and made them able to impact the world and are still impacting the world. And Napoleon Hill sat down with all of these people and documented all of this and put it all in a book. That's what I'm going to say to you, parents. The biggest gift, the greatest gift that you can give to your child is the gift of your convictions. What are your convictions? What are your perspective on things? What do you believe in? What are your ideologies? What are the things that make you who you are? Stop being a man or a woman without convictions. Everything go, provided it is not my life or it's some other person's life. Stop using that phrase, judging people. Having a conviction about something has nothing to do with judging people. It is knowing who you are and standing for something. If you do not stand for something, you will fall for anything. If you would like your child to be a part of the mastermind circle, this is how I talk with the children. You should hear me talking to my mastermind children. You will be like, what's going on here? I practically want to empty everything that I have as far as convictions is concerned, with the children down. Bring it, share this with the children, send them back to you, their parents, and get your own convictions in there. Don't worry, we're always fact checking, and we're always checking with parents, what is it that you believe in? And we want to step this down to our children. All right, send your children to us in the mastermind for 1 whole year. I promise you, your child will be transformed. If you'd like to be a part of the mastermind, we have the information scrolling on our screen right now on how you can join the mastermind. With 5,000 naira, you can book a slot today. And you can begin to pay instrumentally from now to September 1st when we begin a new cohort. The mastermind is one of the most affordable things that you can, programs that you can get your child into. It is less than 6,000 naira per month. Yes, meaning that you have to pay 70,000 in an entire year. So you want to get to it. It's that affordable. Just 2 days ago, I reached out to a Hausa teacher because my son is like, oh, I'm writing Hausa exams soon. I really need someone who can just work with me and just let me know how to go about it since I can't still speak Hausa. And I called up a teacher to work with my son for 4 days. And he gave me a bill of 35,000 naira. 4 days. Hausa language, 35,000 naira. And then I come to you and I say to you, we will practically do life with you and your child for an entire year for 70,000 naira. Please get into the mastermind. Let's work with you. Thank you. I want to mentor your child. All right. So thank you very much for being with me today. I hope you got value from this series. This brings us to the end of the series. It became so long. Yesterday was 40-something minutes, and here we are today again because it tells you that there's just a lot in there to unpack. Have a fantastic day, and God bless you.